Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. We've been closed for nearly 2 weeks, I think. I'm just trying to work it out. As I was saying, 12 days, I think we were closed over Christmas, decided to close right through. So basically I've been eating Christmas cake and swinging my legs for nearly a fortnight. So sorry about lack of videos. It starts again today, so from now I've got quite a few ideas actually. I've got a list of about 10 different ideas for sort of future videos, but just to sort of slowly come back into it, just basically the question keeps coming up. I've had about 3 different phone calls since we've been back, and it's only 2 days, but the past 2 days I've had 3 phone calls about the same subject, asking about the Rega power supply, the TTPSU Neo6. Little add-on power supply for the Planar 3, which it's a standard fitment on the Planar 6 and standard fitment on the Planar 8, but with the 3 it's optional. Why do you need it? Why? How does it work? Why does it work? Yeah, like I say, do you need one? And this is what the video is going to be about. So I'm going to reposition the camera. Actually I can just swing across now. We've got our trusty old Planar 3. A red one and a little Neo6. This is the Mark 1. There's a Mark 2 now, which has just got a styling change. If you look at the video for the Mark 5 Rega phono stage, that's in the new casework. So it's got the squared off. No internal changes whatsoever. It's exactly the same thing, but with a slightly different styling. So I'll be using the Mark 1. Yeah, I'm just going to reposition the camera and we'll have a closer look at this. Right, I've just turned everything around and put it all on the coffee table because the lighting's better, just so we can see the socketry and everything really. Firstly, just talk about compatibility. The TTPSU isn't compatible with all Planar 3s. The early ones, you need to buy a 24-volt kit to upgrade them first. So the way to tell whether or not you're compatible is if you've got an ordinary mains plug. I mean, if you've got like a 1980s, 90s Planar 3, it's going to be a 240 volt one, so, or 110 BS, whatever, and won't be compatible. You need to buy the 24 volt kit, which includes a motor and a supply board, and once you've done that, then you can add a TTPSU. If your deck has got, the easy way to tell is if you've got one of these sort of power supplies, like a wall wart power supply that just plugs into the back of the deck, and there isn't a standard mains plug, it's one of these. So that will be like the modern Planar 3, the earlier RP3, earlier than that the P324, they all had this sort of socket on. I think the RP40 did as well. Yeah, RP40. That's going to be compatible, and this is the type that basically this is your plug into the deck. This is your little 24 volt feed into the turntable, which plugs in under. Well, get the light on it. Plugs in here. So if that's how your turntable works, and you also have this mystery socket here, which you were probably wondering about when you saw it the first time. When you do the upgrade, this lead here is then redundant. You unplug that, and we plug into this socket. I can't do this with one hand. I'll just find the lead. I have this lead which I've managed to tangle up into a right mess actually. One of these, which is like a little 4-pinned in lead, and you'll see at the back of the TTPSU, the camera's gone off, back of the TTPSU, another sort of a similar socket on the back, and also another little power supply socket like on the back of the turntable. Turntable uses 100 milliamp supply, so that's, you know, a little 100 milliamp, so 24 volt supply. This comes with another one which looks identical, but it is actually 350 milliamp. So what you do, you unplug your 100 milliamp from the turntable and plug your 350 into the TTPSU. Now connection is a bit fiddly, to be fair. If you notice on the plug here, there's a flat side. So it's a round body and a flat piece there. What you want to do, I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand, to be honest. You want the flat side up and plug in. Let's see if I can do this. After saying it's difficult, yeah. So flat side up that way, and similarly on the turntable, this is never happening. Flat side up, and in there, I'm not going to do it because it's too tight. it's a two-handed job. And I'd say actually when you do plug this in, I would remove the platter, and actually you might need to sort of tip the deck as you do it a little bit. Bit of a fiddle, but worth doing. So yeah, so what are the benefits of this? I mean, it seems a bit of a crazy thing, and I think the sort of main feedback I get from customers on this is that they think it's purely to give you the speed control, because the on the front panel here, it means that you don't have to use the little two-speed. You don't have to move the belt on the two-speed pulley anymore, which for some reason some people really don't like. I actually really like that, because there are no moving parts. There's nothing to go wrong. You're not spending money on some sort of mechanism to move the belt around or any superfluous stuff. It's just a very purist way that a lot of turntable manufacturers use, and it works really well. It's kind of indestructible, really. So I do really like that. But the TTPSU does give you the benefit of actually having electronic speed control. So there's a little 3345 switch there. And a lot of people think that that's what it's about, and it really isn't. That's just a bit of a bonus, really. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move everything around again, and let's talk about the reasons why this improves things. I actually forgot to mention, I was asked this question the other day. So once it's connected, how do I switch the turntable on? Because it looks like there's a lot of options here, and to be honest, it's down to you. It's you can either leave the box on, so we've got the red light on, and just use your on-off switch as normal, or you can leave the deck switched on and then switch the speed off with the on-off switch on there. So either way, whichever suits. Generally, I think I'd leave the box on and would switch here, really. But like I say, it depends where things are, really. It depends which comes to hand easier. And speed control 45 goes green. We're speeding up now. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, the reasons this sort of improves the sound, and it is quite a big improvement in the sound quality, to be honest. It's difficult to describe what it does, because it doesn't give you more bass, it doesn't give you more sort of hi-fi type things, but it does make the music sound a lot more engaging. I'd almost say that a Planar 3 is better value with one of these connected to it than it is without. It sort of adds so much performance that it really does sort of move the game on. I mean, like I say, this comes as standard of the Planar 6. I mean, it's getting when you get to that sort of level, it's almost an essential, really. And I can just imagine people heading towards the keyboards now, saying, "Well, why doesn't it come with it as standard?" It's down to cost, really. I mean, it's just a good upgrade. I mean, there are turntables at the price of the Planar 3 with electronic speed control built in, but they're not as good as turntables. I mean, the reason the Planar 3 is so good for the money is because of all the stuff that isn't on it, really. It's just the absolute bare essentials: motor, tone arm, and that's why the magic is there, really. Spend that little bit more, then you can have the electronic speed control, and just add to the benefit of all the other bits on there. So it's a good upgrade. It does really improve things, and I've had a lot of really good feedback from customers on this one as well, that they're sort of hearing things they'd never heard before, appreciating artists that they'd never really thought were that good before. Yeah, it's interesting. Now the reasons for it are that when the deck is powered from the mains, the main signal is very noisy, and some of that noise will be sort of transferred through to the motor, and you don't actually hear it as a buzz or a specific noise. It just clouds all the fine detail, and because this noise is there, you can't really sort of push the motor too much, because the more you push the motor, so if you increase the voltage to the motor, you'll get more torque, but then you get more noise as well. So it's a trade-off against noise versus torque, because torque is a good thing, because it's what you don't want you don't want the platter to be slowing down under friction of playing of the record. You don't want the platter slowing down too much. You want it to keep its momentum going. So it's a sort of a fine balance between noise and torque, really. What the little power supply does, it takes the 24 volt signal in but produces its own waveform. So obviously there will still be a certain element of noise within that, but it's a lot better than the incoming mains is. So this creates its own waveform and gives that to the turntable. It's a much quieter signal that it's receiving, but it also means that they can push the voltage and give the deck more torque. So you've got the benefit here of a quieter motor that's producing more torque. I mean, a lot of the fight with the record player is keeping control of motor noise. And I'm going to do a video on direct drive versus belt drive, and I know it's a very controversial one, but a lot of the problems with direct drive is containing motor noise because the motor is directly attached to the platter. That's one of the reasons that belt drive tends to suit audiophile applications better. Not all applications, but audiophile applications better. But that's a subject for another video, really. So that's basically it. So you get, because you've got the more torque, the sort of the dynamics of the music. You find if there's a big crescendo or a very strong drum beat on a recording, it will slow the record slightly. So that extra torque keeps the momentum going, stops it slowing quite the same. And it isn't as though, like again, it isn't as though you can hear the record deck slowing down. It just flattens the dynamic and it flattens the rhythm and timing a bit. So with this driving it, it gives it that little bit more life, and it just sounds more upbeat, more exciting to listen to. It's a really strange thing, but it's not just Rega that do this. Most of the best specialist turntables will have a separate sort of better power supply, and some models have sort of a range of better. I mean, Roxanne Xerxes, there's a range of power supplies you can buy for those, sort of from reasonable money up to silly money. Nottingham Analog have one called the Wave Guide, which similar idea. Again, Lin, we've always had the Lingo. Pink Triangle had one. Yeah, so hopefully that's interesting. I just wanted to do a quick video and to answer the questions of, like I say, I've had about 3 phone calls since I've reopened, asking exactly the questions that I've hopefully just answered in the video there. But it is quite a common one. I mean, the TTPSU does sort of mystify people a little bit as to why it exists, and how can a power supply improve the sound of a turntable. I don't understand. So I get that quite a lot. So I just thought hopefully that'll give, in my sort of slightly weird presentation today. I don't know. I don't totally feel back totally with it today because it's, like I said, been off for nearly 2 weeks and my brain's still at home. So anyway, hopefully that's worked out. Like I said, I've got a few more ideas, so I should be doing quite a few more videos over the next week or two. Got some quite interesting things, like a couple of retro things to do as well, actually, which are quite interesting. I had a couple of opportunities crop up to do some retro reviews as well, which I enjoy doing that because I like talking about stuff from the past, or, you know, good equipment from the past. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Got to go make a coffee now. See you in a future video. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and etc. etc.